Beans Coffee. Hey, everybody, Adrian Fontes, Arizona Secretary of State here. Happy Friday. Got a bunch of stuff to chat with you about today, so let's get right to it. Last week, I was at the National Association of Secretaries of State in Washington, D.C. Had some really interesting conversations with folks. One of the most interesting conversations we had was the new Trump administration's reorganization of some parts of the Department of Homeland Security, particularly the Critical Infrastructure Security Agency known as CISA. Now, one of the general agreements among my colleagues and I is that, a new administration has every right to come in and reorganize the alphabet soup of the federal government. That's the prerogative of the executive, and we're okay with that. I just want to make sure that the critical services that CISA currently provides, or at least provided through the 2024 election, are still available. We're talking about physical security agents coming and looking at our facilities in all of our counties. We're talking about cybersecurity agents being able to come in and look at our electronic systems, our networking systems, to make sure that we had the kinds of security services available to protect your ballots and your votes that we needed, because a lot of times the counties just can't afford to do that on their own. CrowdStrike is one of the things that CISA provides for free. It's a software system that prevents attacks against our election systems at the state and county level. So they can do all the reorganizing they want as long as they don't start cutting the services that are so critical. I can't imagine that they would cut services to dams, water systems, hospitals, the military, a lot of our other critical infrastructure. Elections is also critical infrastructure. So our colleagues are really kind of hoping that remains in place. A lot of other stuff happening at the conference. We can get to that in future discussions, but that was really interesting. Today, this month, starting on February 20th at noon, for the Arizona Author Series, we're going to talk to Dr. Alan J. Noonan. He's going to talk about his book called Mining Irish American Lives, Western Communities from 1849 to 1920. And so a lot of interesting information about Irish Americans here and the way that they were treated and the way that they lived their experience in that period of time from 1849 to 1920 in our mining communities, which we have a lot of here in Arizona. So super interesting thing going on there. And then a quick reminder, the 5th annual Genealogy Day is still set for March the 29th this year, 2025. Our 5th annual Genealogy Day. It is a free virtual event. You can sign up. Information is going to be available really soon, and we will put it either over here or somewhere. I don't know. Our technical wizards are going to be doing some fun stuff like that. We had this really interesting thing going on here during Black History Month. I wanted to promote an author who went to a segregated school right here in Arizona. In fact, Booker T. Washington School in Mesa. The author was Bruce Nelson. He was a resident of a neighborhood called Northtown. And in 1994, he was living in Venice Beach, California. And he stumbled on a thing called, I'm reading it here because I don't want to get it wrong, Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Center. And what ended up happening is he attended some writing workshops and stuff, and it nudged him into writing a book. So Bruce Nelson wrote this book. It's short stories and poems, and it speaks a little bit to his experience as an African American growing up here in Arizona. And I wanted to read you a quick little passage, not the entire poem, but just a quick little passage from a poem called Ghost Man. And this is from Porch Stories, written by Bruce Nelson. My cousin Polky told me he saw a ghost man on a horse right out in front of our house. He was just riding along. The story scared me. It scared Melva so bad she started to cry. I told her, don't be afraid. It was a story. It was only make-believe. Sometimes Cousin Polky can be mean. It goes on, but you get it. Really fun stuff. And that voice could be pretty much anybody that grew up here in Arizona. But Bruce Nelson has given us Porch Stories. And so in honor of Black History Month, I wanted to bring that voice forward and let you know that that is available out there. This book is published by the PTP Book Division, Path to Publication Group in Arizona. And so there you have it. And now to a couple of quick questions. We'll start with this one. I saw that HB 2177 for ACP passed. ACP is the Address Confidentiality Program that protects victims of violence and active stalkers from those stalkers, from folks who are trying to re-engage and re-victimize families. We've got over 2,500 individuals protected by the Address Confidentiality Program right now in Arizona, and this bill is hoping to continue to protect those folks with appropriate funding. And the question is, are there any other bills you can discuss that your office is in support of? We've got a whole ton of bills that our office is in support of right now, but the way that the legislature works, we're wrangling through getting some of these notions onto some other bills. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff, for example, going in through the budgeting process. One of the bills in the budgeting process that's going to work its way, I think, into the budget, not as a standalone, is a bill that would take some of the filing fees that we take in at the Secretary of State's office that usually go into the general budget and just move those fees into a special fund that we can use in our business services division to update our networks, to pay for licensing for software, for example, to make sure that we can maintain our systems up to date. Right now, some of our systems are up to 20 years old, and that's just not good. It's super similar to a fund that exists in the 15 counties where the county recorders take that money from some of their filing fees and they put it directly into an IT fund. It doesn't go into the county general fund, and the county recorder's offices can maintain and update their electronic equipment, because as you all know, IT changes and it moves, and you've got to be able to budget 2 or 3 years ahead of time. Those dollars are not subject to the political whim of a legislature or a board of supervisors under this idea. So that's one of the things that we're hoping to do. I won't bore you with a bunch of other stuff. Maybe next week we'll come back with some specific numbers as the session moves forward. But right now we are booking a whole bunch, or tracking a whole bunch of these things. And so that's one that is out there right now. Okay. Question number 2. What will be going on at the statehood celebration? Well, look, when I became the Secretary of State, one of the first questions I asked was, what are we doing for Statehood Day? Because as you all know, I'm crazy about Arizona. I love this state. I think it's awesome. And even more so now that I've gone and sat with some of my colleagues from other states, Arizona's better than the rest of them. So to celebrate that, I was like, what are we doing on Statehood Day? And I was told, well, nothing. And I was heartbroken. And I was really wanting to do something. And so really quickly we threw together a little reading of the Declaration of Statehood issued by President Taft back in 1912. And at that reading, which happens in the rotunda of the old state capitol under the Copper Dome, we had the original Constitution from the archive. We had it brought over from across the street. You doing okay? You need some water? No?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, you can cough a little louder, because if you stifle it, it's bad. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
You got it out?
Yeah.
So, anyway, we had the Constitution brought over. So this time around, well, actually, that was the first year. My second year, which was last year in office for Statehood Day, we did it again. We had a lot more people show up. This year, we've got plenty of RSVPs. We will have, actually, there are some of the justices from the Supreme Court are going to be there. So it's going to be a great public event. And I, again, will be reading the Declaration of Statehood the way that it was read. In fact, for those of you who don't know, the first time that declaration was read within the territory of Arizona was in Navajo Springs, Arizona. It was read in English and in Spanish during a snowstorm, which is pretty cool. A little bit of trivia for you there. But we're also, are we doing like a cake?
I mean, is it a party without cake, sir?
Well, you didn't answer my question, though.
I would assume so.
Is there cake?
Yeah, I think they're
It was
trying to do
cupcakes
something
last year.
similar to last, yeah.
Oh, so like cupcakes. Anyway, we're going to have a cake in the Rose Garden and stuff. JP, are we doing a cake for Statehood Day?
Sir.
Yes? Okay, awesome. So we're going to do a cake for Statehood Day. It's going to be awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us. By the way, that's February 14th. And you know what? I just found out when I was at NAS last week, I don't know, Michaela, if you know this, Oregon's Statehood Day is the same as Arizona's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, except they're 1859 and we're 1912. We're
That's
newer,
cool.
fresher.
We are. But
newer,
that's cool.
fresher
We'll have
version.
the love day for
Yeah, the
state.
love day. Okay. Anyway, hey, Adrian Fontes, your Arizona Secretary of State, coming to you again on Friday as we do every week. So yet again, hope you have a great weekend. And as always, as the weather warms up a little bit, those of you who are out at the open, please behave. Some other folks might be out there that you might recognize, and we'll all have a great time. Keep your kids safe around water, everybody. Have a good one.